Welcome back to me. I am a memoir, the meaning of Mariah Carey. And we are up to quite a monumental episode of this podcast. We've finished the book. We have finished the meaning of Mariah Carey memoir, which was the reason we started this podcast. And we've interrupted it
and
here
now
and
we're
there.
finishing. It's over.
Interrupted it here and there with the albums of her discography, which we are now also finishing. We are up to her most recently released album, which is Caution, which means she must have one due any day now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we'll hang on until we get there.
Yeah. I think we've got plenty.
So we are going to start this week listening to Caution and getting through as much of it as we can. Given that I've been very, very sparing with the infinities lately, I am terrified that we're going to get to the end of this episode and we'll be infinityless and it'll be a very sad state of affairs. I'm terrified. Anyway, no me moments because we probably did enough for 3 months last week.
Yeah. I've had enough.
Let's just jump in and break it on down. The Caution.
All right. Caution, released November 16, 2018. US number 5 and in Australia number 15. Like, what? Were we all drunk that day? What were we thinking?
What were we thinking?
What were we thinking? We should go back.
I tweeted about it and everything.
Yes. This is within my memories. Like, I remember when this one came out.
It turned up I was in Josh Earl's Don't You Know Who I Am podcast, and you have to guess. He reads out tweets that you've written, and people have to guess who's tweeted it.
Oh, my God.
There was one that was just like, this Mariah Carey album Caution is like the best thing she's done in years. And I was like,
Oh, yeah. I'm just thinking, imagine if I went on there and he found the old MasterChef tweets. I'd be in a lot of trouble. I'd be so sued.
You'd have your egg nets thrown right at you.
All right, smashing into the first track with a little GTFO. How about you get the fuck out?
Oh, don't swear, Mariah. That's rude.
Written by Mariah, B.B. Borelli, Paul Jeffries, Jordan Manswell, and Porter Robinson, and samples Goodbye to a World by Porter Robinson. We do have a video.
Oh, a posh synopsis. A posh synopsis. Get the fuck out, posh synopsis.
Oh my goodness, that's so aggressive. Mariah wasn't that aggressive.
I know. She's sweet with it. When this album came out, I would wander around work and just be skipping over to the photocopier, singing Get the Fuck Out in the style of Julie Andrews.
Yes.
How about you get the fuck out?
Apparently she is a potty mouth. So
Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews. So I feel like she would do this.
Yes, she would.
We need that for
the
Sound of Music too. It just starts with this. She's kicking out the youngest child, Gretel, who's like 60 now. She's like, I had enough.
Get out, Gretel.
So,
Gretel, how about you?
Oh, yeah, because bless her, she couldn't get there anymore, could she?
Yeah.
That's okay. I bloody should get us in to dub her. How about
you get the fuck out?
Everybody, Mother Inferior stuffed in the corner.
Mother Inferior. That's me.
The posh synopsis. Mariah sits on a bed and also in the kitchen, whatever that is.
That is.
I don't know. I don't think she knew what. She's like, this is a fun room. She runs a.
There's wine in here.
Yeah. She runs a bath that she never uses, then sits on a couch with a splash. She poses a bit, and Jack shows up to show his support. She told Cha-Cha to get the fuck out. Mariah has some more. Mariah has some more splashes and her breasts have several moments to shine.
Oh, so
It's
many
so
moments.
breasty.
The lighting is amazing.
Yeah. Mariah wanders the hallway a bit.
Even her cheeks look like breasts.
Isn't that what we all want?
Yeah.
I just want breasts on my face. I've never said that before. It's already hectic.
Not even those 3 weeks that you were straight.
Right. Everyone was facing the other way. I didn't know. Mariah wanders the hallway a bit. This house doesn't seem very big. It must be Patricia's.
It's Piggy Patricia's small flat.
She was picking up the calamity and dog hair as she walked around, and then she'd have a little sip. That's the whole video. Nothing else happens.
That's it. Yeah. Does the bath overflow?
I mean, at this point, maybe Patricia probably hadn't paid the hot water bill, so probably just stopped,
it's probably
turned off.
Yeah.
I think flooding it probably would have tied it up a little. That's why she did it. Yeah. She's like, I
That's
can't.
why she did
That's
it.
why she's on the bench. She's sitting up, avoiding the water.
I'm letting it self-mop.
Yeah. I heard that you can just do this now. So
yeah, just turn the taps on and just let the water go everywhere. Someone will clean it.
Yeah.
Not mum.
She's at the spa. This is Mariah prepping the house to sell it. That's what's happening. I'll just flood it.
Happening.
Yeah.
I'll flood it,
very
sell
biblical.
it out from under her, and then put her in a home where Morgan can be her favourite forever.
Oh, my God. So how do you feel about the GTFO?
Oh, it's such a, never let it be said that Mariah doesn't know how to open an album. It is an opening. It is like you hear wow and you're like, oh, what's this? And then it's like, how about you? Oh, okay, Mariah, I will.
Yeah, I'm leaving now.
I kept thinking, is this about James Packer?
Was this? Oh, yeah, it could be.
I think it was
that?
post.
Yeah.
That was before
He did waste her time. Apparently.
He did waste her time. And he did take his things and was on his merry way. The lyrics are so cute. It's just sort of, and she's just kind of over it. I love that kind of,
it's very relatable. I feel.
Yeah. But she's not angry. She's like, it's not even like an angry, get the fuck out. It's just like, get the fuck out.
Yeah. Just go.
I've put up with your shit for long enough and I am done. And you need to go.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. But lyrically I love it. Melodically it's just gorgeous and the production's amazing. It's kind of lush.
I feel like the production overall on the album is pretty consistent.
Yeah. It's got a really nice sound. Her voice has got a great tone. It's not like she's not forcing anything.
No.
She's not trying too hard. She's not, it's just it feels to me like the best Mariah song in ages.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It's just it feels very now, but it also feels very classic Mariah all at once. I don't know how she managed that.
Oh, she can do
but
anything.
I feel like she's amazing.
That's what we're talking about. Why are we here?
But for me, this is Get the Affinity.
Oh. How about you get to infinity?
Get to infinity.
Ironically, I feel like there's a song that won't get infinity. That
possibly not.
You feel like it should. Look, this is one of those songs I liked it straight away. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my God, the tongue is firmly in cheek, but also not really. I really like the attitude. I love that it's 3.5 minutes, I think it comes in at, which is good for me.
All but one of these songs is very brief.
Yeah. And I don't mind so much when there's a longer song, when the ones around it are brief. I think the one little asterisk I have to this song is that I feel like it could also be broken, it could be broken up into, what do you call it? Like an interlude. I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
If the album started with this for a minute and then it also ended with this
at the very end.
That makes sense. There's something about it
that
feels interchangeable throughout different spots.
I'm guessing, the changing face of music means people like albums are just a collection of songs from the internet now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no one, I don't know that people listen to whole albums anymore. I mean, I listened to this one a lot, and that's huge for me because this was in a period where I was not listening to songs with lyrics in them, or vocals or anything. So yeah, and I just was like, oh, this is really good. And my friend Beck at work, I was like, have you heard that album? She goes, yeah, I love this album. I'm listening to it a lot. And I was like, okay, cool. I thought I was, just had like a weird Mariah nostalgia moment and no one else was joining in with me. But then you read the reviews and it's like, oh no, this was a loved album. Like people, reviewers really like this album.
Yeah, the public seemed to suddenly be aware that she was alive like after 10 years. We know. We done you.
We know. We've been listening all this time. But it's just, she just, but her voice is great. Like it just sort of seemed like, oh, where's this Mariah been? Like she's been releasing songs all this time, but I feel like some of the weird missteps from Imperfect Angel and Me I Am Mariah, like I feel like this is where they were heading. Like it felt like they were steps towards this, if that makes sense.
I feel like if they were the same length as this album and just kept the 10 good songs, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Possibly.
What she needed was an editor. Like, no. Swipe left. Yep. This one's good. Off we go.
I would love to know how many spare songs there are floating around. Like,
I don't think that she had long to do this album. So I think there's not a whole lot. I think they were like, let's just stick to what we've got here. Right.
Yeah. Stick them all on. Quick, go.
Yeah, I think we're going to find, like, as I go through this one, this is really interesting listen now because I did know this album.
Yes.
And I've got the vinyl. But listening to it now, having listened to the 14 previous, is a really different thing. So there's a few that I'm like, I don't know where to put it. So this one, I'm like, going in, I was like, oh, it's definitely Infinity. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's not. So I've gone for 4.5 right now.
Oh, what?
I know. That's really
You said
high.
It was definitely Infinity and you talked yourself out of it? How did you do that?
I don't know. Things will make more sense at the end, I think.
Right. Do you know what I find weird is like that it wasn't the first single, even though there's a video of it and it was kind of released, but it was a promo single?
Yeah, they started doing weird things like that around this time.
I don't know what that means.
Me either. I'm like, I feel like with Me I Am Mariah, it was like, that one didn't land. It was a promo single. Until they got to Beautiful, which did land. Whereas with this one, I was surprised. I think the only singles are With You and A No No, technically.
Yeah.
But I think we've got a few. It's confusing.
Like I feel like the whole album could be, you should release the whole album as a single. It's that good.
We've got to get so many infinities, aren't we? I'm saying. Yeah. the things have been restored. I'm not infinitizing and you are constantly
I lied at the start when I said I wasn't going to infinitize anything.
All right. On to the first single, the first official single with track 2, With You, written by Mariah, Charles Henshaw, Greg Lowery, and Dijon McFarlane. We have a video.
A posh synopsis. A posh synopsis. We're back to singing ballads. Posh synopsis.
Mariah is on a fabulous balcony overlooking her bathroom, the ocean. Now she's in a car. There's a dog, but not one of Mariah's. Mariah goes for a drive, which is rare these days, but she's off to the Hollywood Walk of Fame to see her star, so it makes sense. Part of me just wanted her to be standing on her own star, be like, "Yeah, that's right."
Does she have one? They're very expensive.
She does, because the babies were in the photos, and she was trying to look glamorous while the nanny's snatching the rock away,
snatching babies away.
Yeah. Mariah sits inside the house now, and you'll have to speak up because she's wearing a towel. Mariah, it looks like a robe. I don't know what it is. Mariah sure does make doing nothing look glamorous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Mariah pretends to have a sip of tea, then sings in front of a cityscape and lays dramatically under a chandelier. She wanders around the city.
That chandelier.
She does. I kept thinking, is it the chandelier from the War of the Roses? And they're just up there hanging on it. She wanders around the city and takes some pics in the bathroom before singing into a hairbrush and sitting some more. So I'm pleased that in this video, Mariah finally gets to sit, because in Almost Home, she just wasn't sure.
Oh. She started sitting and then she fiddled with the chair a bit, but she didn't quite get back in there.
Yeah, and she kind of go, oh, no, I won't. So I'm really pleased. If this video had nothing else happening, that she got to have a little sit down.
Yeah, and in black and white.
Yeah. It was I will say, like, there are a few videos that we've covered that it's a lot of beautiful nothing. This was some of the most beautiful nothing.
Yes.
In terms of, I was like, oh, that's a really beautiful, like, bathroom view that we're getting.
Yeah.
Like it was big budget, beautiful nothing.
Big budget, beautiful nothing. That was my nickname in high school.
Yeah. And how do you feel about the With You?
Well, I love a Mariah ballad.
Mm-hmm.
With you. I love, and it's not like full belty crazy 90s ballad.
No, I probably wouldn't think of it as a ballad, to be honest.
No.
Maybe slow jam.
Slow jam, but it's got all the elements of a Mariah ballad. Like she gives a little belt. She's plaintive. It's kind of, it sounds like it's meant to be a nice, sweet song about something, but it feels like a sad, tragic song. Mm-hmm. Like it's kind of a double-edged sword of, like, you go, oh, is this meant to be good or is this meant to be bad? I don't know what I'm feeling. Like, it gives you a lot of kind of mixed emotions, and it feels very, classic Mariah. And for me, it's just on the cusp of infinity. It's not quite all the way over.
Like dipped all the way in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this one it's kind of similar to GTFO. It's really hard to say it. Get the fuck.
Get the fuck out. You can call it Get the Fuck Out.
I should just call it Get the Fuck Out.
That's what it's called.
Yeah. Just in that this almost feels like another introduction. Like, to me, for some reason, I'm like, it's and I almost feel like this could have been bookends as well. But I think it just anchors itself a little bit more. But I find that, like, every time I hear this song, I enjoy it. Like, I always like, oh, this song. I remember this song. But I can't say that I'm constant. Like, I don't search it out.
It's not a song you go, oh, I need to hear Hero today. You don't go, I need to hear With You. I need to hear
exactly.
It. Like, but when I hear it, I'm like, oh, this song's great.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm always like, I think every song on this album, I remember. If that makes sense. I remember something about it, which is, you know, in comparison to maybe Charm Bracelet, I couldn't tell you half those songs. But yeah, no, this one
Even though I sing one of them every single time we do a Posh Nobs.
That wasn't. It was no, Ex-Girlfriend was Rainbow, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'm being stupid.
I could be wrong, but yeah. But I find, like, it's nice and chill, but I think I'm surprised that it was the first single. I think that's probably the thing that I'm like, oh, if I didn't know it was a single, I'd be like, oh, what a great album track. Yeah. As a single, I'm like, okay, interesting. So I've matched it with Get the Fuck Out at a 4.5.
Oh, controversial.
I mean, not really for me. That's a high score.
This
is my favorite Mariah song, is what I'm saying.
You love it.
Yeah. On to the next track, which is our title track, Caution. By Mariah, Charles Henshaw, Ernest Wilson, Muhammad. I really should rehearse these names before I come in here. Muhammad Suleiman. Okay. And Luca Polizzi. Great. Polizzi. Great. All of it. I'll just say every possible iteration.
So you don't get it wrong.
Yeah. So for me, this one, I think this is probably the strongest one so far on the album. Like, I feel like if the first two would just kind of they're my interludes to get to this one. It feels very much like it's carried on from it, but it just has a little bit more presence for me lyrically and vocally. And melodically. And actually, I feel like this feels more like a single than With You. Like, that's kind of my one main takeaway. I'd like, swap them. That's all.
Yeah.
Perfect as they are, just swap that this is the single.
Yeah.
Because there's something just that little bit more melodic, I guess, about it. It's got a slight...
It's much more poppy than the other
That
two.
could be what it is. It has that pop chorus, so I can hear this on the radio and people sort of singing along. Yet it doesn't abandon the sort of R&B vibe that this whole project has.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've upped my score on this one.
Oh.
And gone for a 4.75. I know.
4.75 for the caution.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
You want to be like, I hate this song. It's my least favorite.
No, I like it. You know what's weird is like, and I've had this with every Mariah album, where when I come back to it now for us listening to all these, there's always a song that kind of pops out more than the first time than I listen to it.
Yeah.
And Caution is the one that I go, oh, this is a much stronger song than I remember it being. I remember it being just the one on the way to a no-no.
Yes, yeah.
after the two singles and then the next single, there was one in between and it happened to be the title track. Yeah. But now listening to it, I'm like, oh no, I'm really into this now. Like this is much more, it feels more mature than I think I thought it was back then. I don't know. Like it's only, 4 years ago that this album came out, 2018. But yeah, it feels more traditionally poppy and structurally it feels like a very kind of old school Mariah song, weirdly.
Yeah. I don't think no one else could do this song.
No.
Like it is very much still Mariah.
But yeah, I really do like Caution. It is like it sits just at the cusp of infinity.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't quite go all the way in.
I feel like I'm probably similar to you because I remember this album. So this is probably the first time that I'm coming in going, oh, I actually do remember all of these tracks.
Yeah.
And it's probably the same thing where it wasn't the one that popped out straight away, but I've noticed I might have added it to a playlist at some point. And so, and now listening to it in order again, because that's the thing, we don't always listen in order these days.
No, and that's that's because this is from that generation.
I know.
Of things on Spotify and things on other things,
And that even more reason why I thought it makes sense that Get the Fuck Out would be like a headline grabbing teaser for the album, but I would have picked Caution over With You because of that catchiness to get people doing the TikToks or whatever else. Yeah. But pay no mind because the next track was a single and very much has all of the vibes, and that is A No-No.
A No-No.
Nah. Written by Mariah, Priscilla Hamilton, Robert Shea Taylor, Jeff Lorber, Lil Kim, Biggie, Mace, Cameron, and Andreo Heard, which is because it samples Lil Kim's Crush on You and Rain Dance by Jeff Lorber Fusion. Mm-hmm. And we have a video.
A poshnopsis. I'm not going to say yes, poshnopsis.
I'm going to say yes. Oh, my God. Mariah's on the subway with some dancers. I don't see any bagels, so this must be a flashback to when Mariah couldn't afford both. Dem kids rock up for a bit to watch the dancing. Mariah's hairstyles vary, as they're known to do. This is pretty much the whole premise. So now I'm just figuring out which dancers I'd bang. Spoiler, it's all of them.
Oh, Tanaka even Mr. Face tattoos.
No, it's probably I'd have to go back really, and I'll go back and objectify them one by one, shall I?
Please Tanaka, objectify every single person on the train.
Yeah, that's what I do in real life. No, I head down, don't look at anyone. Tanaka's allowed to bust a move or two, while Mariah makes one of her other dancers cover up. Someone's like stripping off, and she's like, "No tidy whities on this train, darling." Mariah is sometimes on a different train by herself. That must be for when she's in boss mode and she isn't allowed to hang out with the dancers.
Yeah, boss of singing gets her own carriage.
Exactly. Mariah uses her inbuilt hand translation software to confirm that it is indeed a no-no, which might be my favorite video moment. It's just like it's been translated on my hand. There are two remix videos, one with Shawnee where Mariah allows her onto the train for a bit and finds a basketball. And the other one is with Stefflon Don, I think that's how you say it, who is only allowed on the platform with a few dances. She's not actually allowed on the train.
No,
so I don't know what she did, but Mariah wasn't having it.
But didn't buy a ticket.
That's probably what it was. Didn't have it, Mike.
Mariah's the inspector.
Her Mariah.
Boss of singing and ticket inspector. She's very busy at this point in her career.
And she forgot her bagel. She was meant to bring the bagels.
Yeah.
And forgot. Yeah. How do you feel about not yeses? That's
not yet. I know.
Anti-yes.
It's such a jam. Like, I hate that phrase, but there it is. It came out of my mouth. But it's fun. Like, it is just. Yeah. It is a fun song. Like, the video's fun.
Yeah, it is a fun video. For Beautiful Nothing, it's a fun video.
Yeah, it's, Mariah's having a good time. She's having a good time singing it. Weirdly, the lyrics are kind of dark. Like,
snakes in the grass. Time to cut the lawn.
Snakes, yeah. It was Scissorhands.
Yeah.
And yeah, apparently this is about her weird manager that tried to sue her and say that she was assaulted by.
Oh my God. Is that the one from the series?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one that, yeah. Because get Ed Shapiro on the phone, that's her lawyer, her long-time lawyer.
Yeah. Which makes me laugh every time I hear it.
Also, like, sampling Notorious B.I.G., like, she was desperate to make a song with him for so long.
Yeah.
And then he was, he was no longer with us. And so she's gone, you know what? I reckon I can still do a song with him.
Yeah. And we'll bring Lil' Kim along for the ride. Why not? I'll shout her the ticket on the train.
But yeah, it's and I love Mariah in 47 languages saying no.
That's probably, like I said, like in the video when she translates it on her hand, that's everything. And I think I do it every time I have this song. I'm like, let me translate it. That's a no. It's just, there's so much attitude. Like, I feel like this song is Mariah, like songwriter Mariah is firing on all cylinders at
all
this
cylinders.
Moment. The production's super punchy. The attitude and the humor in the lyrics.
It's JD. It's JD and Mariah doing what they do. Like, just going, oh yeah, we've had the biggest hit of all time. Like, let's just keep going.
Yeah. You know what we're doing.
Yeah. And it's fun. And like, sometimes, like, when I listen to this album, this song kind of sticks out. It feels like, oh, maybe this song doesn't belong here. Like, it's kind of too poppy and too polished. But then other times it just fits in perfectly. So I'm in two minds. But it's like, on its own as a song, it's definitely an infinity for me.
I think, as you said, like, it's that in two minds thing. I think this has such it's like singles written all over it. I'm really glad they didn't put it first, because there'd be a temptation to put it first. And I think the rest of the album just would have been like, what? Like when Pink
what are all these other songs?
Get the Party Started on that second album, and then everything else was just like a pill. Like, you're like, wait, what? Why? We were just
I want more of
disco.
That one. Why didn't you have more of that one?
So I do think they did a good job of not putting it there. But I agree. I think it does sort of stand out. But I don't feel like it's a sore thumb. I think it stands out because it's fabulous. And I think my thing about this one, I've gone for an Infinity Light. So for me, it's definitely Infinity.
A lactose-free Infinity.
It is. It's lactose-free. Yeah, that's exactly. Sorry,
it's full cream, but it's just lactose-free.
Exactly. And I think what it is for this period, like these last few albums, I'm like, oh, it's definitely in the Infinity.
Oh, it's amazing.
But then I look at the broader discography and I'm like, it's probably not in my top 10.
If you're going back the full 30 years,
Yes. Yeah. So that's where, again, it's that two minds thing. And I think it'll come up a bit and I'll touch on it more at the end of the album. But But no, I definitely think, maybe it's sort of gotten into infinity. It's done its paperwork, but it can't vote yet.
Yes.
So, but we got there. We're there. So don't worry.
Yeah.
All right.
It's still infinity.
Yeah. On to the next track, which is The Distance, featuring Ty Dolla $ign, written by Mariah, Ty Dolla $ign, Skrillex, Lido, and Pooh Bear. I didn't know he was a songwriter, but here we are.
Yeah, but Skrillex, she's got such a diverse range of producers on this album. It is berserk.
I wouldn't have minded if there was a full Skrillex moment, like Mariah doing dubstep.
When people say, she kind of alluded to it in her masterclass that some people just go, oh, I was there, so I'm a producer. But, when Mariah can have someone like Skrillex as a producer on her album, but still has,
Mariah.
Yeah, there's such a consistency to the sound of all of the songs on the album. You're like, oh, yeah, no, she's clearly producing because she's the only through line with all of this. It's not just that she's singing all the songs, but all of the production has a consistency to it. It's not like suddenly there's a song that you go, this doesn't sound like anything else on the album, even though it's got Skrillex on it. You're like, oh, yeah, this is, that she's producing.
Which is interesting because I feel like that's what we've been missing for the last two albums.
I think so too, yeah.
Emancipation and E = MC squared had that consistency for the most part. But yeah, Memoirs and Me I Am. It's there's some great songs here, but they're just a bit...
had consistency of lyrical writing.
Yes.
And there was a creativity to the production on Me I Am, Mariah, that was kind of consistent in and of itself because it was it was trying so many different things.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas here I feel like it's okay, I've done all that experimentation. I know how good I am at writing. I know how good I am at producing. And I'm we all know how good she is at singing. And this is
she's the boss of singing.
I've settled now. Yeah, she's the boss of singing. This feels settling into, I've got this. I'm all over it. Yeah. But yeah.
And I suppose in a way, you look at, if we're looking at the Mariah's journey as sort of two, the first act being the debut up until, kind of the end of the 90s, I suppose. And then,
I guess
Charm Bracelet and Glitter.
I guess her journey is in decades. It's there's the 90s, there's the noughties, and now we're into the teens.
And those 2000s with, quite a few big albums, and everyone's like, whoa, she's just catapulted back.
Yeah.
That's hard to maintain. And I think that for any career, and I think it was just that, where am I fitting at the moment? And I think by this point, she's like, I don't care where I fit. I'm just going to keep, at this point in many people's career, they'd be like, well, I'm a legacy artist now. I'll just do a greatest hits tour every second year forever. And she's like, well, I don't want to do that. Oh, I'll just keep writing songs. And
she did 3 years at Vegas of greatest hits before this. That was prior to this. So I think it was probably a case of, I've just done 3 years of singing my greatest hits, singing all of my number ones,
even
all
someday.
19 of them, every night in Vegas, twice on Wednesday. And I might make some new hits. Let's have more hits. I need more shirts.
Exactly. I'm running low. I've only got 16,000 shirts.
Low on shirts.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. And it's probably also just a case of someone going, I don't need to prove shit at this point. I think those few albums in the 2000s, she had something to prove. She's like, I'm going to show them. And now it's just well, I'm just going to make music because that's what I like to do. And whoever wants to hear it can enjoy it. Great.
Yeah.
So The Distance, this for me was a little bit similar to with you in that I always remember it. I can tell you what song it is when you mention it. I always enjoy it, but I don't run screaming to it either.
Yes.
I don't, it's sort of, if it's on, I'm quite happy, but it's not one that I go, oh my God, I have to hear that one.
Yeah.
How are your thoughts?
This was one, so I'm not a fan of band marching business. in songs.
There's chanting, yeah.
There's chanting right at the start. Although I have to say, it's very like that kind of thing, like spelling at the moment seems to be big in songs. Like I only listen to the radio if I'm like in an Uber or something. And when I was on the Gold Coast the other week, I got into an Uber and some guy, like 3 songs in a row all had spelling in them. And one was A, B, C, D, E, F, U. And I'm like, that's a lyric.
Yeah. You can't, I mean, it's effective if nothing else.
But yeah, hearing the spelling at the start of this, I'm like, oh, it's like she was, she's frequently, we've had that thing with her where she's done something and then 3 or 4 years later, everyone's doing that thing. You're like, but her one wasn't even a hit. And how is that now a thing that everyone's doing? Like, it's a weird...
I mean, it could be a production side. Like, someone's like, oh, yeah, remember that song we did with Mariah? That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't released. Let's do that again.
Maybe.
Also, I feel like in this case, this makes me think less of like a marching band and more of like kids out on the stoop, like doing their little high five. Like I can't remember what they're called. Like
it feels more cheerleadery than marching band. Like it feels more like cheerleaders having a fun time. But I see it like I feel like it's more like I don't know, kids on the street having fun. Yeah. Like it's more just like they've made up their own little chant. Business.
Yeah. Rather than like peppy, if that makes sense. It's a little cooler than that.
I kind of like it, like the spirit business at the start. It's fun.
It took me a while to figure out what they were saying. Like just the spelling part. I was like, right. STIs. Yeah, okay. Great. Mariah doesn't know what that is.
Mariah, no. Maybe some of her friends have had them, but she would have no idea. But yeah, I like that this song has like an interesting kind of back and forth structure to it. It feels very different for her, but not like it. Again, like once she starts singing, like it's like, oh yeah, no, this is a Mariah song. Like it's. I find it a really interesting point on the album, and I really like the kind of. It feels like, any of her songs that have a feature sometimes feel like they're going to be a really harsh song. It's going to be, it's going to be really in your face. And I don't get that here. Like it feels sort of just like a nice kind of, like even though it starts with a chant and it's got a rap feature, it's still kind of a sweet song, if that makes sense. Yeah. Even though the lyrics are kind of, defiant, which I love as well. They said we wouldn't go the distance and like, here I am, 15th album.
Do you reckon she was listening? Do you think she was listening to You're Still the One by Shania Mariah?
Shania Mariah.
That's the same. It's the same storyline.
Maybe. And she drops the F-bomb like no one's business.
Oh, she's I love that. On this album.
She's not like, because past albums they've been censored. They've been or she's giggled over it, or like in the audio's dropped out. Yeah, like it's all kind of that kind of thing. Whereas this is like, nah, like just drop the F-bomb.
Fuck Mariah.
Yeah, I'm a mature woman, and the children have stopped listening to me, so I'm just going to say what I feel like.
This is actually, that's interesting you say that, because there's the new Kelly Clarkson EP that we touched on a couple of weeks ago. In the Happier Than Ever Billie Eilish track, there's a few F-bombs. Kelly's not said the F-bombs before. She even said it on her daytime talk show, which I'm sure they must have bleeped for the station. But the songs themselves, it's just all uncensored. And I know she's got this divorce album that she's prepping. And I'm like, you know what? I want that. She's not 22 singing Breakaway anymore.
No.
We're not 12. Swear, say it. And I think that's where maybe
give us adult Kelly. We've got adult Mariah. Yeah. I want adult Kelly.
We want adult Kelly. I think that's where, she's obviously always been very consistent, but she maybe dropped off the radio, which, some of that is, ageism and all that sort of stuff. But I think there was a little bit of safety around her. She was very much that, you're the American Idol, you can't swear. And now she's like, I'm not with that record label
Justin wouldn't swear. Why would Kelly?
Yeah, I know. So hearing her actually own it, I'm like, this is what we need. And if you want to graduate from Idol to Alanis, we need this. So I'm really hoping that she goes for it, because it worked for the song. It wasn't like she was doing it to be crass.
Yeah,
It's like, no, this
exactly.
works. So
Yeah.
we'll get her to sing, get the fuck out. That's what we'll do.
Should have done a cover of that for a little album.
Yes. This song, I feel like it's funny because I don't feel like it's that different. Something about it feels totally Mariah to me.
Yeah, exactly. Because when Mariah starts singing, it's like,
it could be that.
It's a Mariah song.
I think it's actually the next track that I'm going to point that out more, where it's like, so for this one, I do like it. I remember it, but maybe not as much as I like the other songs. So I've gone for a 4.25.
Yeah, this is on the cusp of infinity.
Okay.
It's really good.
Just circling the ring.
Yeah, they're all circling the ring. I've been cusp or in infinity for the whole album. Like, remember when I did 2s and 3s?
I know. When I wasn't. Remember that?
When you were giving everything 5?
Remember when people liked me for 5 minutes? All right, next track, "Giving Me Life" feat. Slick Rick and Blood Orange, written by Mariah, Slick Rick and Blood Orange, featuring dialogue from Trading Places, specifically Eddie Murphy and James D. Turner. This is the one that I would say feels not very Mariah when I first hear it. I'm like, there's a drama to that production that I have not heard before.
Do you know the last time I heard this kind of dramatic production would probably be the production on The Beautiful Ones.
Oh, God. I can't imagine why, because this song's actually good.
It's the build. You know, I can't get enough of a build. I love a build, and this has a great build to it. And I've seen Trading Places a number of times, being the fan of Jamie Lee Curtis that I am. And I knew that dialogue instantly. I'm like, oh my God, it's Eddie Murphy. It's Trading Places. I know this. It's when he's the homeless guy screaming in the street. It's like I get excited from that moment on, and I really like this song. I love the build, and I love like really inventive lyrics as well, like the fun, like, you know, calling back to Marilyn and Barbara Streisand.
Yes, I know. I noticed that more because I'd already knew this album, but I listened to it when I write the notes, and then I listen to it on the vinyl today just in the background while I'm doing stuff. Yeah. And this definitely was one that really stood out.
It's got echoes of The Roof as well, I feel like. Okay. It's got it's just like this isn't completely unusual for Mariah, but it's that kind of like eerie, dramatic.
It is eerie, and I think it's where she's placed her voice. Yeah, we don't always hear it. At least she doesn't stay there for long normally, and she kind of does here. And I did say that, firstly, this production feels like it's a sample, but it isn't.
No.
Like, it feels like she's gone, oh, that's a really cool little like riff going on there. I'm going to use that. But it's not. And even though it's a 6-minute song, I feel like the bulk of it is the 4 minutes. And I remember as I was listening, I was like, I feel like this is naturally where it should end. And then that's when it kind of turns. And I was like, oh, good. She's been listening, and she's like, Posh is done now, and we need to just go into a little like outro interlude moment.
Yeah,
which I think,
like if they were going to release it as a single, it wouldn't have had the outro.
Exactly. And I think on any other album, it would have been an interlude, but because we're not doing interludes, because it's the internet now, that's the reason. They're like, we'll just keep it on there. But people can skip it if they don't want it. But I really like
skip it. It's like the song just
skip the end. I mean, if people didn't want the end.
Oh no, you can't skip. It takes such a great turn, and she's having fun down the end. Mm-hmm. Like it's like as eerie as the song was, like this end bit is even more kind of like disquieting and off-putting, and it kind of makes you feel weirdly uncomfortable, which is completely counter to the lyrics of Giving Me Life. And it's all like, it's like, what? How? Yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. This is another one that, I kind of liked when I first heard it, but this listen, it's like, oh, this one, I ache for this one.
Yeah.
Like I would skip ahead to this.
I do feel like this is my initial score for it was to match the others at 4.5, but then today I liked it more. So I was like, okay, I'm 4.75ing it. But I feel like this could be a for the record moment where it's like, kind of liked it at the beginning, and then it just every listen, even though you hate for the record.
I hate it.
No, I don't. But just like where, it started out as just that song, and now that those haunting things are coming in and going, oh, that's the one that I'm remembering. You know, like, or I would go back to this on its own. Like, so we'll see. Watch this space.
Well, this is infinity for me because it changes up so much, and and it feels dangerous. And
it does. There's a very haunting vocal, Mariah.
Yeah. And it kind of, the other thing I like about it is that it feels like it shouldn't work. Yeah. Like on so many levels, it's like it's taking so many risks. Like you feel like, oh, this song should just fall apart and collapse in under its own weight. And it just never does. Like it really skillfully walks a line of being almost too much and almost too experimental and almost too... Sure. And then you're just like, no, but it's still, I like it. Yeah.
Oh, and it doesn't have Cisco screaming all over it, so that helps.
Which is that's also a good thing.
All right. Next track, One Morgan.
One Morgan.
Written by Mariah, Frederick Ball, Wonder Girl, and Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear's back.
Pooh Bear's busy.
Ditched Piglet. Ditch Piggy Patricia.
Piggy Patricia's gone.
All right, some songs. So what are your feelings on One Morgan?
Oh,
Morgan.
This is the, when the album finishes, this is the one that I'm still singing.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is the one that jams in my head. Like it just sticks in there. Like more than any other song on the album. Like I'm just like
so surprised.
Wandering around the house. One more game. It's just a really fun hook that just gets right into my head. I don't know why. It's a very simple, straightforward song. Like it's a very, by the numbers Mariah song. Like you just like, oh yeah, this would fit on any of her albums anywhere. Like it feels like true. Structurally, production wise, even vocally, it's like, oh yeah, this is just Mariah singing a Mariah song. Yeah. But there's something about the hook of the One More Again. It just jams in there. And I think because it keeps, even when down the end, she just keeps going with it.
One More Again.
Yeah, and she says one more again in a bunch of different languages, as she did with a no.
Yeah, she had a little not a thesaurus, but what's the?
She had her international dictionaries.
Yes, she's like, just 1 second.
I've been doing a bunch of lessons. I've been teaching my kids different languages. Now I'm going to sing all the things. But yeah, I kind of I like it's just. It's very simple and straightforward, but I kind of love it. Yeah.
It's funny how people interpret things differently because this, for almost the same reasons, is the one I'd kick off the album.
Wow.
It just doesn't give me anything new. I like the title, and that's about it. No, it's not true. It's not a bad song at all. And that's the thing of this album, isn't it? There's no bad songs.
No.
This is just maybe the first time that I'm like, not really going anywhere with this,
Come on, she lights a towering inferno in this song. Like,
I don't know. I heard it again today, and there's maybe one other track that I might. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. No. But it just sort of didn't capture me.
Oh, see, it's such a great hook, and it's so.
I can't remember it. That's the thing. Like that. This is probably the one hook that I can't remember from this album.
Really? Yeah. That is weird. Yeah, no, it's I love this one.
How funny.
Yeah, it's fun and it's silly. I'm going to infinitize it. I'm infinitizing One More Again.
You always did love Morgan.
Morgan.
Yeah, look, I it's not a bad score. But I've gone for a 4. It's not your favorite. It's just not my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it came on, I wouldn't skip it. It's not a skip song. But I personally wouldn't start skipping around to it either. So
yeah.
you know, it's
See, I would replay it. I would do what she says in the lyrics and play it one more again.
Interesting. Two more again.
Two more again.
All right. On to the next track. 8th Grade, written by Mariah, Timbaland, Angel Lopez, Federico
Timbaland.
I know.
People coming out of the woodwork this
right? Lawrence Dobson and Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear is everywhere right now.
Yeah, Pooh Bear's been very busy.
Pooh Bear is the moment. This is interesting. So going into it, I was like, we're getting those, you know, those little white bitches calling Mariah names. That's what we're getting. We're getting that story. It's going to be really deep and really dark. And I literally looked up the lyrics. It's not that at all. So my main thing about my question for this song is, why is it called 8th Grade? Like, I honestly don't understand. I was like, it's gonna be about the horrible little white girls, and it wasn't.
No.
Do you know why it's called 8th Grade?
I think it's about the behavior, like, of the person she's singing to. Like, you know, like the chorus is, I'm not your world, I'm not your life.
Yeah, I literally wrote it because that's I really like that.
That hook is great. It's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, I get the impression it's, I think it's a relationship thing. It's like, you know, this kind of behavior is 8th grade behavior. Like, it's
not. So it might be like, what are we in 8th grade? Like that kind of, yes.
What, you're obsessed with me now? What?
Yeah. Like, even though I'm usually fine with that, but
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's good because I think just knowing 8th grade from the book's perspective.
Yes.
It just wasn't what I was expecting. I was this is sort of like a singing to a lover or something. But that makes sense. It's like, yeah, what are we in 8th grade? That's how I'm going to think about it from now on.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, you know, because it's like a breakup is about to happen. And they're like, lyrically, it's like, is he going to do it? Is she going to do it? Like, it's like, you know,
just had enough.
What if it was me that left you? Like, like, and it's that, you know, that very 8th grade thing of like, you're dropped. No, you're dropped.
You're dropped one more again.
Yeah.
So there. I think this is one of the ones as well that, like, when I first listened to it, I was like, oh yeah, this is fine, but it's definitely one that's stuck around. Like, similar to Giving Me Life, where it's like, maybe at first I was like, oh, I remember this one, but then today I was like, oh yeah, no, this one's quite good.
Yeah, it is.
I think the production,
and you don't remember it because the title doesn't match exactly the hook.
But now I will, because I'll be like, what are we in 8th grade? That's my new thing. But I think the one thing about this that could have sunk it is some of the production is just like someone pressed play and then walked away and just left Mariah to sing. Like, they just were like, oh, let's just leave that in. I'm not angry
about that.
That can sometimes just be a little bit like, oh, they could have added something. But thankfully, Mariah is there and she shows up. So
she shows up several times. She shows up in her in her background vocals. Also, Timbaland shows up to give her a hand, which is nice.
I would say we don't need Timbaland.
We don't need Timbaland.
Because all he does is go, a few times. I'm like, like he was going, and I was going,
he says, break it down.
Yeah, I was just like, no. I honestly, like, Mariah could have said that. Don't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
he's
I like
doing the production as well. So, you know, he was
maybe
there.
Maybe that's why I kept looping it, because he was trying to record his bits. But no, I usually love the Timbaland. And like I said, I do quite like this song. But yeah, I was like, I didn't need that. I would have been happy with just Mariah going, and break it on down or whatever. But yeah, otherwise, like, I feel like this is going to be, again, that one of those ones that at first was like, oh yeah, and then it's grown and grown. So I went for a 4.5, but I feel like this is applying for its papers.
Yeah.
As is.
I think it's, you know, I think it's about kind of probably the first time she fell in love with someone, probably like an 8th grade crush or something, because that's how, you know, that is how you break up with people.
See, don't confuse me now, because I've got my Fridays in my head.
Yeah, I know.
So what is this, eighth
But
grade?
that is what it feels like. It's like, who's breaking up with who? Like, what's going on here? What's the story?
Maybe this is about the Packer as well.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe they all are.
Yeah.
Maybe they all are. But yeah, what did you give this for and a bit and a bit?
I gave it a 4.5, but I think it's going to apply for some Infinity papers and try its luck.
Yeah. This is definitely Infinity for me. It's just it's pure Mariah. It's gorgeous. I love it.
Pure heroin, but pure Mariah.
Pure Mariah.
Good stuff.
We are almost home. We've got heaps more caution to go, and plus more bonus tracks than anyone could possibly imagine.
So many songs that we've never heard of.
So many bonus tracks. And we should quickly make something happen.
Make it happen.
Are you making anything happen? Are you making things happen?
Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet.
There might be a video coming
out.
Yeah, there might be a video coming for the next single, but it takes a little while to animate, darlings.
Oh, is this your moon signal?
Have you seen
the moon signal? Because you're a superhero.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who flashes a brown eye.
Yeah. But yeah,
the moon signal.
It's been getting a little bit of radio love, which is nice.
Oh, that's good.
Just go and stream Possible Prince X on all of your platforms, darling.
Have you seen the moon tonight?
And what about you? Have you got something?
I will be in Bendigo on the 16th of the month. Saturday the 16th is the 10th anniversary of Outland, the TV show I made for the ABC back in, 10 years ago, 2012. And for the Bendigo Queer Film Festival, John Richards and I, who created it, are doing a little talk. We're playing a couple of episodes on the big screen.
Heaven.
So if you are in the Goldfields, please pop down and say hi. We would love to see you.
Yes. This is the thing. I feel like, Outland is prime for Netflix. We need.
We should.
Let's
reboot it. Except they're all Mariah Carey fans.
Oh my God. Except one regular person.
One regular person who keeps touting the bottom. When you said you were a bottom, I didn't think you meant like that. I didn't think you liked her. We don't know her. She doesn't even go here.
It's like we're tops, meaning the breasts and the voice. We don't understand.
The breasts and the voice. It's all up the top. All the power is up the top. We do nothing with the down the bottom.
It's kind of true, isn't it?
It is.
All the magic. That's why it's the upside down in the regular verse.
Yeah, that's this is why this is why so many gay boys love Mariah, because they just want to be topped by her singing.
Exactly. Yeah, and she will rearrange your guts like no one else. It's true.
What a horrible saying! I love it.
It's great, isn't it? Great.
Oh, that is a horrible way to end this podcast. Anyway, more caution next Mariah Monday.
I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
Bye, Emily.
Bye.